Welcome to In Vibe Life Conversations with Amy Parker and Cheryl Dunn. By tuning in, you are joining a community that will inspire you to increase balance, wellness, and joy in your life. We'll offer expert information and insightful conversations to help us on our journey to live more in vibe. For more information and articles, remember to also check out our website at invibelife.com. That's ENVIBELIFE.com. We're grateful that you're here. Welcome to In Vibe Life Conversations with Amy Parker and Cheryl Dunn. And today we have a special guest, Sheena Mannina with Raw Republic. Raw Republic Juice. So, Sheena, welcome. It's good to have you.
We're so excited. We've had so few live and in-person podcasts so far. So this is fun. I feel like we're entering a little bit new era.
A new normal.
Or new normal, right.
I think it's a welcome thing. Everyone's ready to be back in real life.
Yes.
I think.
There's a lot of value in that face-to-face and, seeing each other.
Connection, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you. We met Sheena at our Nourish event. She came and brought her juices and we got to taste them and, got to know her there. But we know her story, but we want to know a little bit more. So tell our audience, how this came about.
Wow. Okay. So anytime someone asks me about my story, I find it so difficult to find a landing beginning because everything in hindsight always leads up to where you are. So you could start from, me being in early adolescence and having a lot of difficulty with my hormones, the prescribed method of dealing with, the condition is called dysmenorrhea, which is just a lot of bleeding during a period. But what it actually was just a gut imbalance. In hindsight, that's what I'm sort of seeing as it was a gut imbalance. It was an imbalance in my feeling a part of my identity, my having a connection to the things that I was consuming, whether that was food or thoughts or my surrounding elements. Was I doing things that were really aligned with who I was, or was I just trying to make people happy? That's sort of how I play with healing now. But from that place and being so young and being prescribed medications that were really not addressing a root cause, I just kept getting sicker and sicker. So from an adolescent age, I was having a lot of those hormonal problems, but I was also having a lot of skin issues. I was having a lot of digestive issues. And I was recognizing as time went on that the medical industry really wasn't equipped to handle this autoimmune situation. So throughout that journey, the lucky part was that I was diagnosed with a lot of things. So I can reach a place of empathy with a lot of my customers and knowing, okay, I know where this diagnosis is coming from. I have an empathetic voice to what it means to have Hashimoto's or what it means to have cystic acne or rosacea or, all the digestive conditions that really don't have a name. Crohn's could be that, or IBS. But around the time that I graduated from college and I started working in corporate America, I was given sort of to me, and working in corporate America gave me some time to sort of evaluate, what am I working towards and what am I interested in? So around that time, I started to just sort of want to become my own medicine doctor. And I started to explore nutrition. I got a certification in Wholistic Health Coaching from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And I started to just sort of fuel myself with a different dietary standard than I had grown up with. And I saw the changes that started to ensue as a result.
So you were pretty young then, in your 20s, early 20s?
Yeah, I graduated college when I was 22, and I became a health coach when I was 23. It was a year-long intensive program. The Institute of Integrative Nutrition is a very well-known certification now.
Yeah.
And so that process was just wonderful and amazing. And I gained a lot of interest in wanting to understand the culinary side of making food taste good that was healthy. And I was in Baton Rouge at the time when I was going through my health coaching certification. And I remember reading about green smoothies and green juices. And I was so excited about it. But there's only a few limited things that I could do with my little blender that was this big and could like barely chop a nut,
Right.
you know? So I would go to, I would look for smoothie bars and juice companies, and there were zero.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, this was 10, 11, 12, 13 years ago. But Louisiana, Baton Rouge, New Orleans at the time, very sparse. So I would find a business with a good blender and that I knew had these ingredients, and I'd bring these recipes and I'd say, can you make this green juice for me or this green smoothie? And they were like, why would you want to drink that? You know, like it was just that idea of like drinking greens and having nutrient dense foods was just not really part of the conversation. So from there, the next thing that I wanted to learn and discover was that the culinary aspect. So I had kind of been researching juice companies around the country. California was a very inspirational and aspirational place, but it didn't really have that like business focus. You know, there were like mom and pop juice bars in different places, but I was also sort of a businesswoman in mindset, and I wanted to see how like the big operational juice companies were beginning and how they were scaling, and I was just interested in that. So I moved to New York, and instead of working for one of the big companies, I worked for a smaller juice company so that I could have my hands on the ingredients and the food and learn that. So I did that. I ran a juice bar in the Hamptons during that season, and gained really fast education by just sort of being thrown in. You know, it's one of those things where like you want to learn, so you show up to like the hardest thing that you could ever create in your mind to like get a quick education. And from there it was like I was ready.
That's awesome. I love it.
But I think that's the case with most things. Like you're never ready, so you just make a decision
To do
of
it.
when you want to do it. You know, because y'all are both like businesswomen, moms. Like certainly looking back, you're like, you could have waited forever to do all of those things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
If you don't dive in, you won't dive in.
no. And I continue to make mistakes every single day. I'm reminded of those mistakes every single day. And it's still okay for me to show up. Because I just know like failure is a part of this existence as a human being, and discovery and creativity, and it makes it beautiful and hard, and you just become more resilient through the process. And I think that food as the foundation has made it possible for me to like sort of have a clear channel and being able to be present for some of those emotions. You know, I think that when you're really dependent on things that are chemically addictive, like food additives and food dyes and processed foods, you know, just from my experience, and I really don't say that from a scientific perspective, I really just say it from an experiential perspective, that not having those products as part of my vessel anymore, I feel has allowed me to become more resilient. Emotionally.
Clear-headed, you know, because life's going to throw you things, right? And it's not about what's thrown to you, it's about how you react to it, you know, and how you live with that. And you talking about the autoimmune and the prescriptions coming from traditional Western medicine, and the spiral effect of that, you know, at the physical therapy clinic, we see that all the time. And then one of our goals is to get people off those meds and using movement. But In Vibe was brought about because I knew that one piece wasn't the answer to total health, right? That there was more to it. So that's why we have conversations with people like you, that people realize, okay, yes, movement's a piece of your health, but you got to watch what you're putting in your gut. You got to watch what you're putting in your mind.
Well, and what you said, listen to your body.
Listen to your body.
Because it's going to be a different formula for each person. So knowing what's out there and what you can choose from and what can help you. But like you did really early on, it's up to us to figure that out for ourselves and realize we are our doctors. We are.
Exactly.
And even if it's Western medicine we're helping.
Yeah.
We're still in charge of that.
Yes.
Whom we invite in. We're in charge of who and what we invite.
Yeah. Definitely. I really like that aspect of the conversation, like the responsibility aspect, because
it's huge.
It's really difficult, I think, when you're afraid, when things are happening in your body, it's like you want to give the responsibility to someone else to figure it out because you're afraid. And so I really, with myself, I try, when I feel forced into making decisions, I try to first come to a place that is not fear-based so that I can make a decision from a more grounded standpoint, so that I'm not just looking for a fast solution that'll take me out of my pain. I'm a little bit slower to sort of assess my options and like have it come from that place, that heart-centered space, instead of just that let me not die, like fight or flight perspective. But I like what you were saying too, because the movement piece, that is for me, like I know when I'm feeling stagnant or when I'm feeling constricted and very stressed, I almost am in resistance to movement because I know that it's going to move the energy and it's going to change, it's going to change things. It's going to put me on a different course. And it's like that showing up aspect. It's that responsibility. And sometimes you can be apprehensive because it really takes you to the next level. I always encourage people who are listening to conversations like this, if there's something that you hear that piques your curiosity, but maybe you're hesitant, it sometimes can, for me, it can just be that your body knows that things will change as a result of that, taking that step. And sometimes that can be scary.
Well, that's what you said about making a decision from a place that's not fear-based. I think that is huge, because I feel like we're living in a life right now that's all fear-based, right? And if we don't, you got to recognize that. But it takes stepping back, taking the time, acknowledging that maybe the decision you're making is out of fear versus your heart, or just doing your research, or give yourself the time, give yourself the grace and the space to back off of a fear decision and make one from a better place. And that could take hours, that could take days, that could take weeks, but whatever it takes for you to do that, I just think that's huge for people.
I think that is too. I think that is something we could come back to another time, because that is what we've been living in the middle of. Is health through fear has been what's been promoted for the last 18 months or so.
Wow, what if y'all are courageous to take on that conversation.
It's a big one, but if you think about it, marketing 101 is put the fear out there so you can get your agenda passed. Whatever that is. And I mean, if you think about marketing, that's what it is. But it's beautiful that, when you're taking on your body and your own health and your own responsibility and trying to shut the marketing out and make your decision from your intuition or your gut or your knowledge, I just think that's huge.
So let's say this, because we went there a little bit.
We did go there.
A little bit, so now we have to address it a little bit. Even if that's how you've been making your decisions, it's okay.
Yeah.
There's a reason for you to have been in whatever state you've been in. And so appreciate that and show it love and appreciation and grace, and recognize that that served a purpose for you. But you can also make your choice right now to be empowered however you choose to move forward with intention. And you might not do anything differently. And, even for the last 18 months or so, I know just Cheryl and I know each other very well. Like, we've made different decisions.
Yeah.
But we have talked a lot about trying to keep fear out of it, because then you're just suppressing your immune system and you're inviting things in and you're letting your guard down.
Yeah. And it's just very easy to get sucked into a fear cycle. It's very easy. And I feel like it's sometimes like a daily job to not get sucked into it. Even if you're living a healthy life.
And so just recognize that it's there and stop for a minute and think, why am I making this decision? And you might make the same decision, but do it from a place of empowerment, not fear. Okay. Our PDA of the, of the moment.
Yes.
So then tell us how you got to Austin.
So let's see. Again, I could go so far back, because I would just blame it on my partner in life / fiance / we also have I guess we officially, because we've lived together, we have a
in-law.
We have common law marriage.
Yeah.
So we're married, we're engaged, we're partners in business
partners
in life. Like, we're too many things for it to be safe. But I could just blame it on him, because he went to high school here, he grew up here, and we met in college when he went to LSU and I was at LSU.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. But before we met, I was actually interning with someone who had a football network, an online football network company, and we would come to Austin and do parties. So I was here and visiting and loving it, and I applied for jobs here right out of college. But at the same time, I was applying for jobs in Louisiana, and I got a job like that, and it was perfect and amazing and exactly what I needed. But as Evan and I sort of developed our relationship and then opened a business together in New Orleans, it was still in the back of both of our minds to eventually come back to Austin. It's just a place that supports a lot of our interests. And for me especially, I had gone to PaleoFX for the past 4 years prior to the year that we had moved here. And that space, which for those of you who don't know what PaleoFX is, it's basically a health conference. It was under the paleo umbrella, but it had a lot of talks on consciousness, and it brought together a lot of people who were interested in that conversation. And so being here as part of that conversation was very inspiring. And the last time that we went to PaleoFX, I left it saying, I want to move to Austin now. And I had done, I don't know, just a lot of things that always brought me here. I did a couple of energy healing training modality conferences, and they were here as well. And so, yeah, it's right now it feels like the mecca of wellness industry. So what that means to me is that there are a lot of people who are interested in wellness through technology and through conversation and through innovation. And so it's really exciting to be in that episphere. Mm-hmm. Is that a word? Epicenter?
It can be now.
Whatever that, y'all know what I mean.
Yes.
And so just to put out there so that everyone knows, you have locations of Raw Republic Juice in New Orleans and somewhere else in Louisiana, right?
No, our
New
cafe
Orleans
is in New Orleans on Magazine Street, and our new store is here in Austin.
On South Lamar.
On North Lamar.
North Lamar.
Technically. Mm-hmm. And yes, that is... that was sort of our next step, was to be in 2 cities so that a wide range of customers. And, I do feel like when you step into growing a business, you just, like we were talking about earlier, you just take one step after the other that you're inspired to take, and you try to take it from a place of love, and you try to detach from the outcome. But the intention of being in Austin has always been there, and I do think it's because it's going to help dictate sort of the next steps for the company. I think that was an important element to it, and also our happiness and our being in the community that I was just speaking of. It's keeping me motivated in this space of wanting to provide alternative mindsets to people. You know, a lot of times when people open juice companies, they sort of come from that same place. We've tried traditional healing methods that didn't work, and we want to provide an inspiration to other people who are in that place. Does that mean that, like, for me, it doesn't mean that I necessarily am trying to get someone to eat 100% raw or vegan or to juice every day? For me, it's more about informing someone that there's another way, or there's hope, or there's another perspective that may feel awakening and exciting. And from that place, I think that that's where healing begins. Mm-hmm. So that is really the intention of the juice company. It's never been, you know, going back to the conversation about marketing, a lot of juice companies just sort of bend into that, like, weight loss and, you know, type of marketing. That's never been exciting or interesting to us. We feel excited and interested by our customers who walk in with despair and frustration about where they've been, and then they leave feeling like, wow, I feel vibrationally different. I might have something that I can go research that might, you know, change my mindset, or that might, you know, give me another option than what I had previously seen. And it might be from the juice, it might be from a conversation that they had there with someone else that's not connected to us. The intention of the business, it sees itself through always. So I always tell people who are interested in starting businesses, like, that intention, you know, you'll learn throughout the process how to communicate it, but the intention actually reveals itself in ways that, like, you
can feel,
couldn't even imagine, you know. And yes, you can
feel it.
You can feel it for sure. I think just like you can feel it in y'all's business. Every time y'all show up to do something within Vibe, people are feeling like, oh, I have to see what's going on here, because it's something that's transformational.
Well, when you were, you know, speaking about the things that excited you and didn't excite you, and you were looking at what excited you is how you changed people's lives, right? You didn't; those weren't the words you used, but it's the feeling that came with it, and it just, I think that resonated with us a lot. And I don't know, we've never said that to each other at all, but I feel that that's the common ground that puts us on this couch together. You know?
Yes.
We're not out to, like, you know, make life perfect or do this or do that. But it's like, how do we take one more step to being a better me, you know? And maybe that's today I have a juice.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of stuff. Because it's the baby steps that make the bigger picture better. And the baby steps are achievable. But if you decide today, all right, that's it, I'm never going to eat chocolate cake ever again, we know that's not
right. And why would we want it to happen?
Right.
Well,
Exactly. So it's just, I love what you're saying. And I want to also make sure that our audience hears about your juices. Because I know that last time Amy and I were there, you talked about the water a lot. And I think that's
the
important.
water in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think that's important. You know,
yeah,
people don't know that.
What makes them different? What makes them...
You know, I'm obsessed with the quality, because I want to create something that I want to consume. And so there are just particular things that along the way I've recognized as, okay, there's an improvement that needs to happen here, and, like, wow, it makes such a huge difference. But what you're talking about is, I'm obsessed also with, like, the idea of water and structured water, and how we're water and the connection of that. So my company has invested probably over the course of time, maybe like $15,000 to $20,000 in water filtration systems that not only is the water that washes our fruits and vegetables, but anything that is made with water, like our teas or our tonics, we utilize the water that we've filtered, restructured, and things like that. So over the course of time, I've kind of accumulated some type of knowledge on the process of water filtration, and it's a big conversation, because I think that ideally we would be drinking clean spring water. Yes, I think that that's what we would be consuming all the time, and it would be fresh from the spring, and it wouldn't be bottled and on a shelf for a long period of time. Not incredibly realistic. So what can we do that sort of bring the barriers that we can get good water filters, and we can get good deliveries from places like Rising Springs and Mountain Valley. Mountain Valley is a great company as well. But we have 2 water filters in our Austin kitchen. One is a 9-part reverse osmosis filter that, after its reverse osmosis, which is basically, if you stop there, you sort of have a dead water. But if you remineralize the water after being filtered in that way, then you bring back some of the energy in that way. And then if you restructure it at the end, which this filter does as well, you bring back that resonance of a natural water. So like if you look at water that's moving in a waterfall, or if you look at an icicle, that natural structure is oftentimes very symmetrical and beautiful in its shape. Many water filtration companies don't consider that aspect. So this is a nice addition to the end of that filtration process, is that it's also restructured. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure people have seen Dr. Emoto's work is very interesting in this. We talked about that last time.
And we can link it in the show notes here for anyone who hasn't.
It's so interesting. Mm-hmm. Basically, it just says that you can change the structure of a water molecule through intention, through words, and through structuring. And you can restructure through words, you can restructure through sound. And so this particular water filtration that I've spoken of up until this point is called Live Pristine. I'm happy to link that as well. And I have a connection at that company. And then we have another water filtration system that is called our Stealth unit. And that particular system shrinks water molecules so that you have an increased oxygen and hydrogen component when you're consuming it. So it increases the hydration capabilities of that water. It also enhances it with negative ions, which all moving water has negative ionic energy, which is grounded energy. So a lot of times we can feel very heady, especially nowadays when we're in fight or flight, when we're very stressed. A lot of times we want to exit our body system and we want to resonate in our etheric space. That makes it impractical to live on this earth. So that's why the conversation about grounding is so important right now. We have to have our feet on the ground. We have to be a part of this planet that we are existing in. And so negative ions are a great way. Like that's what you feel when you go to the beach, when you breathe in that air, when you put your feet on the ground. So that water it's filtered, it's increasing the hydrogen and oxygen concentration that you're consuming per sip, and then it's also enhanced with negative ions. And then a byproduct of that is that you can also create positively charged ionic water with that system, which is a naturally occurring antimicrobial. It sort of magnetically detracts those things. So that water is what we use for sprays in the store and can also be used topically very safely if you have anything going on with your skin or in your mouth, or even like a lot of people have been coming in with eye conditions, like viral things, and it's very safe to like spray on your eyes or use on your babies and rashes and things like that.
I've been using it on my puppy.
Yeah, I used it on my dog. And I sprayed everybody's hat.
And my son has cleared up his forehead by spraying his hat.
Oh my gosh! Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is what I told the ladies.
Yes,
I told them
the water.
I told them that Evan, would sort of break out if he was using the same hat and not sanitizing it, and so he started sanitizing it with this. We call it the Stereon water, and it just completely just makes it bacterially, fungally, virally protected. But that's such a long answer to the water conversation. I just really like water.
And so for those of you in Austin too, go in to the Raw Republic location, because Sheena will probably be there and she will educate you on all of this and so much more. I mean, you're a wealth of information and a treasure to our little community here.
Thank you for saying
now,
that.
I think people will find that. But I do like one of our goals in Vibe Life, and particularly the podcast, is to first of all give people more information on things they're interested in, but also for those people who may have heard about juicing or drinking juices but don't really know where to start, or it seems a little intimidating. So speak to those people. If someone were going into a juice bar or a juice store, what would you recommend them start with? What are the benefits going to be? Let everyone know.
Yeah, like putting on my cap of, sort of entering this conversation as a novice or without a lot of information. I think the most important thing is to feel what feels enticing to you, and to not feel like I never like feeling like you're in a cool girl place. I like for people to feel like they're welcomed, and like juicing should not feel like that. It shouldn't feel like an outside thing. It's really the benefit of juicing is that you're condensing a lot of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, enzymes into something that you can consume and can be absorbed by most people very easily and effectively. So you're taking up to 3 pounds of produce and you're condensing it into a product that, if it's not pasteurized, it's still living. So these are still like living, enzymatic. We're talking about water structuring. These things are still alive and vibrant. So, I don't know where people are coming from unless I meet them and can sort of get part of their story. So for some people who have been on very strict diets or coming from a place of trying to not eat, certain food groups and things like that, I think that they have to enter that juicing world from a different place than someone who's like, oh, I've been eating fruits and vegetables my whole life, and this is something that's a big part of my world. I think the most important thing is to ask for help if you are, or just ask questions, like come to something like juicing or blending or changing your diet with some joy and curiosity of just exploring. It doesn't have to be that serious, Is it an amazing product? Absolutely. I feel so fortunate to be able to stand behind a product that is really just living nutrition. I feel very lucky that's my life's work right now. But do I know that that's the right thing for everyone? No. Do I know how to enter someone into the beginning stages of changing their diet? I do. Because juicing is an easy way to do that. If you're coming from a place of eating a lot of processed foods or eating foods that don't make you feel good, no matter what you get from any juice bar, you're likely going to feel an improvement. And from there you can just start to evaluate, okay, I am drinking a condensed food product. If I'm, really trying to elevate, I'm going to start asking questions about the quality of what's in that. I'm going to start asking questions about the freshness of that product, and getting your feet wet is really just the most important thing, just stepping into action of making that change. So, but if you're coming into my juice bar, I would say that you can't go wrong. I really would, because
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
they're
all very
really
tasty
good.
too.
Yeah, I mean, Evan and I, when we were starting to make all these recipes, we were like, every single thing that we're making is fruits and vegetables. So why would we not try to make everything taste really good? So we definitely came from an alchemical flavor agenda of just wanting things to be balanced and feel fresh and inviting. And I think that we do a good job with the recipes and the flavors and the taste from that perspective. And also, with our employees, I'm not always going to be the person in the juice bar able to talk about all the juices, which is why I've done a lot of podcasting myself, because I was constantly having the same conversations in the juice bar. And I want that information, if someone's interested in it, to be available outside of being at Raw Republic, because I think that there are many juice companies that could use support and are all over the country, that, you know, people can go on this journey there with their community members. But yeah, I think drinking any organic fresh juice, I don't think that you can go wrong. And I would just say to just, you know, a lot of times when people don't know where to start, I break it down very simply, and I just say, like, what color is calling your attention?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
It seems silly, but a lot of times animals choose, you know, things in nature depending on color. So why can't we? And most times when I have people choose a juice based on color, they're very happy.
Oh, that's nice.
Maybe
I'm gonna do that next time.
Maybe it's because there's a particular organ that's like can see through your eyes and say to maybe, I don't know. Again, like I never back things up scientifically, because I think that a lot of what I'm called to do might not be able to be scientifically proven, or maybe it could be scientifically proven, but does that make it more right for someone else? No. So I like for people to explore based on their interests and their curiosities and their like choice, you know, like this is what feels good to me. That's empowerment, that's responsibility, that's joy, that's love.
There are a lot of modalities, a lot of choices that are not scientifically proven that are successful, and successful businesses built off of them. So I just, you know, sometimes that comes from your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Follow it because it talks to you.
Right.
You know?
And likely if we wanted to prove things scientifically, we could.
Yeah.
But maybe we don't have to.
Maybe we don't
prove
have to.
everything.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe some things can just be like joy and magic and color and
just feel
creativity.
it.
Yeah.
Just feel it. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. It's been awesome having you here today. I mean, this is great
It's been
information.
so much fun.
Y'all are so fun. I love spending time with y'all. First of all, y'all always look amazing. You always have great blowouts. You're always,
Oh my gosh.
y'all's outfits are always coordinated.
That is not planned.
You don't think so, but it might be.
Right.
It might be,
Potentially.
maybe on a subconscious level.
But I feel so grateful that y'all are open to this conversation and that y'all are open to putting it out there publicly.
Gotta get it out there.
I really appreciate people who are standing in their courageous centers and sharing information from their heart. And so I'm really grateful that both of you are doing that.
Thank you.
Well, we're grateful you're here.
Right. It's been an honor for
Yeah.
us to meet you. We've had so much fun meeting you over these last few months, and
Super fun.
Can't wait for next time too, the next conversation.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear more or get the information, go check out our show notes. We'll put a link to Sheena's website. Visit her stores. She has one here on North Lamar in Austin. She has one on Magazine Street in New Orleans.
Right.
And is it Raw Republic in New Orleans as
Yes.
well? RawRepublicJuice.com. So yeah, share this podcast if you like the information, and tell your friends all about it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, or just go check out our website. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening to Imbibe Life Conversations. For more information and to join our community, be sure to check out our website at imbibelife.com. We look forward to sharing with you.